Well, as all of you know, I am not remotely cool enough to be Sarah Palin. But I couldn't resist coming out here for a brief moment to say a word about my friend, Governor Sarah Palin. The mainstream media wants us to shut up. The mainstream media wants conservatives to accept defeat. The mainstream media wants us to be timid and hide in a corner. And the mainstream media is absolutely convinced that women cannot be conservatives. And if they are, they especially cannot shoot really big guns and hunt grizzly bears and moose. Let me tell you, that's why Governor Sarah Palin drives the mainstream media bat crap crazy. It shakes up their entire worldview, and you know what? She can pick winners. Sarah Palin jumped in early and supported Rand Paul. She supported Marco Rubio. She supported Tim Scott. She supported Pat Toomey. She supported Nikki Haley. And this last election cycle, there were 3 Republicans who won new seats. Deb Fischer, Jeff Flake, and myself. She supported all 3 of us. Let me tell you something. I would not be in the U.S. Senate today if it were not for Governor Sarah Palin. She is fearless, she is principled, she is courageous, and she is a mama grizzly. I give you Governor Sarah Palin.
She's not just a pretty face. She's got everything it takes. She has a passion line, a journalist for Time, coaches a football team. She's a
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ted Cruz, the senator is the keynote speaker, and he would lower himself to just do an introduction for a hockey mom from Wasilla. I am so honored. Thank you, Senator Cruz. Oh, America, send more like Ted Cruz, please. We need him. He, coming from Alaska's little sister state of Texas, here, Ted Cruz, like a good Texan, he comes to town, he chews barbed wire, and he spits out rust. That's what we need. And I was just thinking how much I like Texans. One reason, they don't mess around with our Second Amendment rights. All this stuff coming lately from the White House to take away the good guys' freedom and the right to protect ourselves, with the most naive notion that the bad guys who ignore the laws, that all of a sudden they're going to follow some new laws. Yeah, it's not about the bad guys. No, it's all about the lead. It's like Soli, that chunk of metal did the crime. That's like saying, Soli, that fork made me fat. And background checks, yeah, I guess to learn more about a person's thinking and associations and intentions. More background checks. Dandy idea, Mr. President. Should have started with yours. cpac. I'm so happy to be here, and it feels like it's coming home, even though it is only my second time here, but kind of feel like I'm getting the hang of it already. I can spot those liberal media folk here to write their annual Conservatives in Crisis story. How many of you guys are here? Raise your hands. Come on. Raise your hands. Be proud. You're loud. We're used to it. Certainly, you're not ashamed to raise it high. And don't worry, we would never dream of making you wait outside on the party bus. It is an honor to be here. We can come together, folks, for an adult conversation about the future of our country, and heaven knows we need this. So much of what passes for our national conversations these days is anything but. Remember No Drama Obama? If only. Now it's all drama Obama. We don't have leadership coming out of Washington. We have reality television. Except it's really bad reality TV, and the American people tuned out a long time ago. Entertainment TV is a good description of what's going on in DC, because more than ever, it all feels like a put-on. Every event feels calculated to fool us somehow. So every speech feels like a con. Washington politicians, too many of both parties, have a bad habit of focusing on the process of politics instead of the purpose of politics, which is to lead and to serve. Even our guys in the GOP too often have a habit of reading their stage directions, especially these days. They're being too scripted, too calculated. They talk about rebuilding the party. How about rebuilding the middle class? They talk about rebranding the GOP instead of restoring the trust of the American people. Now, we can't just ignore, though, that we just lost a big election. Yeah, came in second out of 2. Second position on the dog sled team, it's where the view never changes, and the view ain't pretty. But we need to figure out then, our job, what will we do next? As we go about that, as we talk to one another and listen to what the speakers have to say, let's be clear about one thing. We're not here to rebrand a party. We're here to rebuild a country. We're not here to dedicate ourselves to new talking points coming from DC. We're not here to put a fresh coat of rhetorical paint on our party. We're not here to abandon our principles in a contest of government giveaways. That's a game we will never, ever win. We're here to restore America, and the rest is just theatrics. The rest is sound and fury. It's just making noise. And that sums up the job President Obama does today. Now, he's considered a good politician, which is like saying Bernie Madoff was a good salesman. The difference being the president is using our money. You know, I spend most of my time in flyover country, the heart of the heartland of America. And I have news for the permanent political class in Washington. While they're busy worrying about their own political future, things are bad out here. Nearly 8% unemployment rate. It doesn't begin to capture how bad things are. Even the dismal rates announced of 0.1% economic growth, that doesn't tell the story of the pain that Americans feel. Our president fancies himself as a champion of the middle class. Yet, since he came on scene, even those lucky enough to have a job, they're working more for less. The median income of families has dropped over $5,000 since '07, even as we work longer and longer hours. And job creators are being punished. Tell me, how does punishing the job creators create more jobs? It costs nearly $100 now to fuel up your truck. It costs tens of thousands of dollars to send your child to college. Man, the price of a case of diapers today, nearly these prices, the cost, the impacts on the American family budget. And while the middle-class Americans, while we're breaking their budgets, the Democrat-controlled Senate refuses to pass a budget. That was how many years ago that they did? How many trillions in debt ago? All in violation of Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7 of our U.S. Constitution. No budget for 4 years. No budget for 4 years is not just bureaucratic bungling. Refusing to pass a budget is government refusing to declare what it intends to do with the people's money. Barack Obama promised the most transparent administration ever. Barack Obama, you lie. There is a direct correlation between the Senate stubbornly refusing to pass a budget and the Senate selfishly agreeing to go ahead and spend our children and our grandchildren's money. No budget is no leadership. And it's time for America to get more outraged about this. Never before have our challenges been so big and our leaders so small. Now, when we were here last year, the words on everyone's lips and, the wish in your heart was for Barack to pack her up and bubble wrap the Nobel and the clubs and the high tops and head on back to Chicago. Well, the election came and went, but the campaign never stopped. At a time when our country is desperate for leadership, we get instead a permanent campaign. But here's the thing. Leaders take risks for the good of our country. Campaigners make promises they can't keep. Leaders reach across political differences. Campaigners double down on those differences. Leaders seek to bring Americans together to confront our challenges. And campaigners, they seek to divide and to conquer and to orchestrate crisis after crisis after crisis to exploit. Mr. President, we admit it. You won. Accept it. Now step away from the teleprompter and do your job. Class is in permanent campaign mode. So where do we go from here? One of my idols, Lady Margaret Thatcher, she offered this advice after her party lost at the polls. She told fellow conservatives not to get lost in abstract debates and green eye shade accounting. Mrs. Thatcher advised conservatives to focus their concern first and foremost on the people. She said, look at every problem from the grassroots, not from the top looking down. She also cautioned conservatives not to go wobbly on their beliefs, to which I offer a hearty amen, sister. We could use a leader like Maggie Thatcher today. But just think about it. At a time when Washington is so powerful that 7 of the 10 highest income counties in the country ring the city, allow yourself to imagine leadership that deigns to understand us little people, us clinging to our God, our guns, our Constitution in the grassroots.